And hello, everybody, once again, and welcome to Breaking Ponies, where we still have not thought of a tagline.
No, God, we really do need to focus on that. Anyway, hello everyone.
Yes, so today we have episode 7, Dragonshy, which I guess it's a decent enough title because
Yeah, well,
it's
yeah.
more or less a Fluttershy-centric episode,
hmm
where she's the first one. Of course, she's always the caretaker of animals, and she discovers that there's this evil cloud of smoke looming over the city, but she's a bit too quiet to actually announce the problems there. So
Yeah, true enough.
they have to rely on Twilight to tell it to everybody. And I thought they're gonna hit a joke of like, why didn't you say anything? It's like I did, but no, they just kind of, oh no, there's smoke. So everybody gets together to go up the mountain, and they discover that it's because of a dragon that's sleeping up there and spreading smoke all over the country. Which, I mean, I like dragons, so I was interested in this episode once I saw the description of it.
Yeah, well, dragons are cool, let's be honest.
Yeah, and so you trying to get me to play Skyrim.
Yeah, well, you should. You definitely should play Skyrim.
It's one more game on my pile to.
Well, the only problem with playing Skyrim is once you start playing, you've got to invest like a huge amount
Like
of time in
200
it.
hours to finish.
Oh, easy, easy.
Well, once I have, well, I'm sure I'll get into it eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, the design of the dragon actually kind of reminded me of like Valoo from Wind Waker. Or
Yeah.
I think during the episode I mentioned Jake Long.
Yeah, oh, Jake Long. It's just kind of your typical sort of red
Yeah, typical
dragon.
red dragons.
Dragon on top of the mountain, sleeping for 100 years, going to cover the whole of Equestria in smoke. So, of course, the main six are wrangled up together to climb the mountain and deal with it.
Yeah, so of course naturally they all have their different ideas of what's a necessary item to bring.
Mm.
And Fluttershy, of course, doesn't want to go because she's afraid of dragons. And it's like, you're not afraid of Spikes. Oh, well, Spike's not a giant pony-eating dragon who's gonna kill everybody.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Not yet, anyway.
Oh dear.
Well, he's a baby dragon, and babies do grow up eventually.
So of course we're also introduced to an asshole rabbit,
Oh, yeah, Angel. Angel
Angel
Bunny.
Bunny, and you know he's an asshole because every person I've ever met named Angel has been an asshole.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think I actually know any people directly named Angel, but yeah, most people. If you're gonna call somebody Angel, they're gonna grow up to be an asshole
Because they
because
don't. It's a self-defeating prophecy. They don't want to. It's like, oh, you're Angel, you're nice, and he's like, no, I'm an asshole.
exactly.
So
Yeah, but that's only a little sort of side story with
yeah.
Spike and everything.
So of course, as they're climbing the mountain, Rainbow Dash is obviously she's trying to fly up the mountain, and she's like, "Want to Fluttershy? You can fly as well." But no, she can't fly because she can't flutter because she's shy. I guess her name
Oh.
is very literal in that sense. There's some people that are bladder shy. She's literally flutter shy.
It's easy for kids to remember if you name them about something they're doing. I mean, Rainbow Dash is very quick. Applejack deals with apples. Fluttershy is very quiet,
Of course,
etc., etc.
Twilight Sparkle is
Magical,
rarity is. I have
precious.
no idea what's.
Yeah, anyway. Moving on. But okay, so they're climbing up the mountain, and of course they're facing all these
Yeah, they're facing all these different
problems.
trials, and they're doing pretty fine, but Fluttershy is basically screwing everything up for them. They can't go over gaps, they can't. She's causing avalanches, and of course she's afraid of dragons because she doesn't. She's a little pussy.
Yeah, well, she's just shy, as we know.
Yeah, which has easily been established. I mean, it's in her name. She's.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we're sort of
Yeah,
repeating ourselves.
finally they get up to the dragon, and they all try their different methods of persuading him.
None of which are ultimately
Yeah, none of
successful,
them
of course.
work. I mean, Twilight goes in because they first trying to get Fluttershy because obviously she's the animal whisperer, where she has all these animal friends and she knows how to deal with creatures, but dragons are not her forte. So she's like just cowering away. So Twilight Sparkle's like, oh, fine, I'll handle this myself. So she goes in and she has a fairly decent argument against him being there because he is kind of being not very nice. But of course that doesn't work. So Rarity goes in and she tries to turn him over with flattery, but she screws up because she's a very selfish and greedy person.
She likes shiny things because shinies are shiny and they're pretty.
He obviously kicks her out because no, you want my riches, get out of here, you gold digger. So then
Yeah.
they bring in Rainbow Dash, who is not gonna take any of his crap. She goes in and is like, get the hell out of here, and kicks him in the face, which really pisses him off.
Well, I would imagine you'd be pretty
Yeah,
pissed
because
off
he's
if you
just
got
trying to
kicked in
sleep,
the
and
face.
these six little things come in. It's like, what are you doing in my house? Get out of my house. And now you're trying to attack me? Get the hell out of here.
Exactly. Really sort of royally piss him off, which big fight scene, ensues. It ultimately concludes with
Ultimately, it concludes with Fluttershy saving everybody because obviously you saw where this episode was going at the start. She's gonna come in and tell him you're being a meanie, basically.
yes, don't be mean.
Don't
Being
be
mean
mean.
is not
Don't be a
nice.
dick. And I mean, I personally wasn't a big fan of the dragon once he started talking.
Yeah, his voice was a bit weird. I mean, you kind of expect it to be deep, but personally, they should have just got Benedict Cumberbatch to come in and do the voice because that would have been much better.
I don't think he was really doing the dragons at the time.
No, no, this was several years ago, so he wasn't doing dragons. But seriously, in retrospect, why not?
I mean,
Yeah,
well,
so
they
obviously,
do it. You do expect it to be kind of booming. We don't expect it. It seemed almost dopey in that sense. It seemed like a very dopey kind of voice.
well,
What
he did just get woken up. I mean, he was probably half asleep, maybe.
possibly.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm making it up.
This episode was okay. Could have. It's not as good as some of the previous ones, but they can't all be winners, I guess.
No, well, it's very sort because it's a Fluttershy centric episode, and Fluttershy isn't exactly the most exciting of all the ponies. It's gonna be it's a nice little sort of filler episode.
I
It's
like her
just
animal friends, but they don't really focus on them too much.
you'll get more focus on them in the future.
Oh,
Angel
probably.
is a sort of a semi-regular character. Anytime Fluttershy shows up, Angel's usually around. So yeah, that usually ends up quite fun.
So then, of course, we move into episode 8, Look Before You Sleep, which is, if there was ever any doubt that this show was intended for girls,
Slumber
yeah,
parties.
this is a slumber party. I mean, apparently, the weather in Equestria is not controlled by
Natural forces.
weather phenomenon. It's literally controlled by the
Well,
Pegasi.
I was having this conversation with another friend of mine who's a big fan of the show, and we were trying to sort of work it out. And what we sort of conclusion we came to is that nothing in that universe happens naturally. Everything is controlled by either a group of ponies or one single pony who's kind of really, really good at the job. Like you've got Celestia controls the sun and Luna controls the moon and all that other stuff. And how it works is that you have a group of ponies that do the job until one single pony like Celestia or Luna comes along and sort of takes singular command of that particular role or something like that. That was kind of the working theory we were coming up with. But essentially, it comes down to the fact that nothing happens in that universe unless the ponies make it happen.
So even something like plate tectonics or
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't really want something like that. I mean, like I said, we don't even know if their world is spherical. For all we know, it could be a flat disk.
that is true, I suppose.
And we
Flat
I
disk moving through space.
yeah, well, you never know, but it could
Well, I
be.
mean, obviously the sun and moon can be moved just by will, so who knows?
Yeah, exactly. So, nobody really knows exactly what's going on in
It's
these worlds.
friendship, bitch. We don't have to explain it.
Exactly. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. I
Yeah,
mean, that's fun. It's
we're getting
fun.
sidetracked, but it is still discussing fan theories and
Yes.
stuff. Apparently, the
Yeah, I
show
said,
has fan theories.
oh, the show has innumerable fan theories. You should look some of them up. They're quite entertaining.
Uh,
But yeah, that was sort of what we were discussing. That basically the groups of ponies have to do everything until one single pony, sort of grand princess type pony comes along and does it instead. Maybe I don't know.
so, of course, once it starts raining, we got this episode is Applejack and Rarity centric, which is
Hmm.
lovely because Rarity was so likable in the previous one. I'm just gonna say Rarity is easily my least favorite of the main six.
Yeah, she really is very very shallow
She's
sometimes.
very shallow, very selfish, very self-centered.
Well, it's the weird thing. I mean, her sort of power, from the elements of harmony was generosity, and I think it's always weird that that particular elements only ever seem to show up when it suits the writers.
Yeah, and she's generous in the sense that it benefits her.
Sometimes.
Yes, sometimes. I mean, she wanted to go up to the dragons thing to get riches, basically. She
Mm.
really didn't even care about stopping the death cloud.
Well, like I said, when it benefits the writers.
So of course, we got the episode Rarity and Applejack trying to get along, very odd couple setting because they
Mm.
are forced together during the storm to bunk with Twilight Sparkle that day. So Twilight Sparkle's like, "Oh, slumber party."
Yes, because
She's never had
she's
a
never
chance to do that
had
before,
one
and
before.
obviously she has a book on the subject.
Of course. Well, she has a book for everything because that's
That's
Twilight's
the
character.
gag.
Yeah, that's kind of the guy. It's also sort of part of her charm and everything.
It's part of her gag, just like Pinkie Pie's answer to everything is party.
Yeah, pretty much. Not, although to be perfectly honest, that's a perfectly valid answer to any question.
That was the answer in this one, summer party. I'm
Yeah,
surprised Pinkie Pie
exactly.
wasn't there.
Well, would have been
It's
if it
like,
hadn't been
they're
for the
having a party
storm.
without me? How do they do that?
Yeah, something like.
So,
But
for some reason, they had to establish that her house, even though it's a tree, isn't subjected to lightning because she has a magical lightning rod. Which,
it's kind of a throwaway, almost a throwaway, because it
yeah,
does
but it does
kind of come
actually
back
come
later.
into play later on, which is strange because the lightning rod should attract lightning, not divert it.
Well, it's not a lightning rod. It's kind of an anti-lightning rod. It
Yeah.
punts lightning away. Yeah, so they have a slumber
They have a
party.
slumber party. They do the standard girly stuff. They do makeovers. They do pillow fights. They make s'mores, which, I mean, I go for some s'mores right now, but they tell ghost stories, which apparently in a world where magic exists but ghosts don't,
Yeah, ghosts don't exist in a world of like unicorns and fairies and
and
magic and all this
dragons
other
and
stuff. Yeah, and dragons.
manticores.
Ghosts are apparently the subject of stories, and that's it, which is odd.
Yeah, it's so they tell the story of the headless horse, which totally sounds like a Binding of Isaac enemy.
I have to take your word for it on that. But
So
so yeah,
yeah, later on they have a problem with the storm goes really bad, and of course Applejack and Rarity are fighting constantly, and they ruin the entire party. And then there's lightning strike, and the tree ends up falling into the house, and now the storm's all coming inside. So what the hell are we gonna do? We got to get this branch out of here.
yep,
And finally, Applejack apologizes to Rarity, and they help her push the branch out and solve all the problems.
yes, you get rid of a tree, and all your problems are magically fixed.
Oh yes, of course, because that's
Well, Applejack apologized. Really, that was the real
yeah, that
catalyst
was the
for it.
big one. Even though Rarity was totally in the wrong here.
Yeah, it's weird. Applejack apologized, but Rarity didn't counter apologize, which was weird. Usually it goes both ways. But
Yeah. So I don't know how good this episode is in terms of roles and learning about themes of friendship for like the target audience.
I'm sure. Well, they did kind of sum up at the end, didn't
They,
they?
they do kind of sum it up, but I mean, the real strength of this show is in how different the characters are. They did a good job of writing very different characters, very different personalities for each of the characters.
Hmm.
It's almost it's impressive in that sense. It's almost inspiring to me because I'm working on writing a lot of different characters, and they managed to give them such distinct personalities that I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that if you have a very specific character in mind or a very deep character, they kind of write themselves.
Hmm.
And then from there, all you have to do is put them in various different situations or with
Mhm.
how they interact with one another. So you choose just two random pairings like Rarity, Applejack, what happens as they interact with each other, and the episode kind of writes itself from there.
Yeah,
So, and
which
everything
kind
just
of
kind of
did.
falls into place, which is actually a very impressive way of writing all these characters because they all are very, very distinct and usually kind of likable personalities. You can kind of see a lot of them in other people,
Mm.
which is a very commendable thing to do in a lot of stories.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was one of the reasons why, I mean, all the characters, because they're all so different, they all feel like they have a purpose in the group.
Yeah, they did a very good job of kind of like running the whole gamut of the kind of people that you encounter. So you are
Mm.
going to meet somebody at the show. You're going to meet somebody in life that reminds you of one of these characters, and even if it's not one of the main six, it's one of the other side characters that come and go, like the Griffin or such.
Yeah. Well, if the character trait doesn't show up in the main six, then obviously they can sort of punt it onto some
Yeah,
side
they
character
add a
they
new one. Yeah,
introduce,
it's like, obviously.
like the Griffin or Trixie or the Dragon or something like that. So thoughts on the episodes?
There were both of these episodes were both kind of throwaways. I guess I liked the episode 7 more because of the dragon, obviously. But Ed, it just it just seemed like there was more going on in that one. There was actually something at stake. They had to stop a dragon from covering the world with smoke, as opposed to having a slumber party. So it seemed like there was a lot heavier stakes in episode 7 than episode 8.
Well, you can't have the world ending in every episode because that just gets boring and repetitive. That's kind
Wait,
of one
isn't
of the
that the
problems
plot
with.
of Doctor Who?
I was about to say that. That's one of the problems with Doctor Who is that the world is at stake almost every single frigging episode, and it just gets a bit samey after a while. You know, how many different ways can the Doctor save the universe? Oh, it'll all
It's
come
like
down
that
to
old
his.
Tumblr post. It's like I saw an episode of Doctor Who last night. It's like, which one was it? I don't know. The world was ending.
Yeah,
You're gonna have
exactly.
to be more specific.
Exactly. Which, it's kind of nice that they can put sort of the big grander episodes mixed in with the episodes of them just living their day-to-day life, which, it gives good contrast for the series as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a good way of kind of bottling each episode or kind of tying each episode together as a theme with. They do kind of the cliche of the journal, but in this case, she's like reporting her findings. They did this on so many shows. They did this on like Doogie Howser. They did it on Mr. Belvedere. They did it on Third Rock from the Sun, where they kind of report their findings to somebody, or they
Mm.
keep a journal of their thoughts of their findings as the experience went. Hell, they even did it on How I Met Your Mother.
Never watched
You've
that one
never seen
actually.
it's a good show. You should check it out.
I've seen it sort of, advertised around, but I've never actually sat down to watch it. I mean, the fact that the show is still going. They're into like season 6.
No,
How long
they
does it
recently
take?
had the series finale.
Oh, did they? Well, whatever. They did like 5, 6 seasons or whatever it was. How long does it take to tell a story of how you met someone? Which, funnily enough, actually brings us straight into the episode of Breaking Bad,
Yeah,
because in not quite the first scene, but in the second scene, you actually find out how Walter and Skylar met each other, and they're telling it to their son. So, believe it or not, this is completely unintentional, but how he met their mother and all that
yeah.
stuff. Wow, that actually ties it together rather nicely. That's good. Anyway, so this is episode 4. Is it 4? Yeah, it's 4.
Yeah, four.
Which is called just Cancer Man, which is just fine. Okay,
Kind of a
whatever.
redundant title, but whatever.
Yeah, very redundant. So before the intro scene is Hank, Walter's brother-in-law, who's a DEA agent. Hopefully, I can stop introducing these characters like that eventually, because I need to remind myself more than people who are listening in. Anyway, they're talking about their operation. They are aware that the 2 drug dealers from the previous episodes are missing, presumed dead, and of course they found the tiny little stash of near perfect meth crystals. What was it like
It's like
91%?
91%. Yeah,
91% pure, which is unheard of as far as they're concerned. And so they are aware that there's a new player in town. And they also have one of the gas masks. I can't remember if it's Walter's gas mask or if it's Jesse's. If I had to take a guess, I'd say it's Jesse's gas mask. I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head because that's like back in the first episode, and that was
I
several
believe
weeks
it
back
would
for us.
be Jesse's because
He's more likely to have just dropped it.
didn't Jesse pass out and then Walt put his mask on Jesse and as he drove off?
Yeah, I think so.
No,
Something
no,
like that.
it was Walt that was holding the gas mask. I don't remember. We'd have to rewatch the episode or
Yeah,
something.
I'd have to go
Well,
back to the
it's one of
first
these.
episode.
They'll trace it back to somebody eventually if they get fingerprints on it though.
Yeah,
And again,
yeah.
of course, they're trying to decide on what to call this operation because it's like something out of an Onion sketch. I think there was an Onion sketch about this where the biggest problem with the project was figuring out what they were going to call it.
Yeah, and he suggests Icebreaker, which is a decent project
Yeah,
name, I think. But someone suggested that's the name of a chewing gum,
which is
um, or a breath mint or something like that.
it is, well,
Um,
it's both. It's a
yeah,
brand.
whatever. And what is it they end up calling it in the end?
TBD, which is
TBD.
to be determined. They don't have a name yet.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'm sure they'll think of something.
I'm sure they'll
But
think of something and it'll be very catchy.
yes, I'm sure. But this
Operation
hardly
Bear Trap, Operation Night Steak,
snowplow. Operation Pony. No, wait, hang on. No, that's probably
Operation
an actual
Baked
thing.
Bads.
Yeah. Anyway, we're focusing way too much on this. Seeing as this is like one 3-minute long
Yeah,
scene at the beginning of the episode.
it's the cold opening sequence.
So yeah, the story doesn't directly continue on from the cliffhanger from the previous episode. I think it's set a couple of days because Skylar mentions that she's been holding on to it for 48 hours, this secret that Walt told her. But eventually he's telling her the story of how he and Skylar met, and she sort of breaks down in tears, and he's then sort of forced to confess to everyone, which being his son, his brother-in-law Hank, and what the hell is that woman's name? I can't remember it.
God, I can't fucking remember either.
It's Hank's wife, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, obvious.
Whatever the hell her name is,
It's
I can't
Skylar's
remember.
sister.
Skylar's sister. um yeah, whatever the hell her name is. uh
It'll come to us later.
it's
We'll
one of the names
remember
I haven't
eventually.
written down.
I promise I've seen the show before. I've watched the entire series, but it's been a while since I last watched it.
Yeah, but anyway,
And
so
she's kind of like the rarity of this show. I don't like her too much either. Very few people
yes.
do actually. She's actually a rather
She kind of just
disliked
seems like a
character within the fandom.
non-character. She's a bit forceful. She's a bit, but anyway, yeah, she's probably not important. So yeah, they're all sort of sat there. They're having a cookout, and Walter is essentially forced to come clean about having lung cancer. So they sort of talk for a bit, and sort of they plan to send him to this world-class oncologist, which is a word I know quite well because I watch Scrubs an awful lot. But
It's also
uh,
very commonly used on House.
I haven't watched House. I want to watch it, but I've never caught it from the beginning, so it never seems like much need to watch it. Anyway, while that's going on, Jesse is hanging out with some of his doper friends, and after a night of smoking some of Walter's apparently excellent meth,
Well, if you're
he
gonna make
starts.
meth, you make it good.
Yeah, well, quite. He sort of freaks out and starts hallucinating that these two biker guys, one holding a grenade, the other holding a machete,
He just
are
helps
going
coming
to
up with a
kill.
fucking grenade. He's like, oh yeah, come on.
Yeah, so he's seeing these two bikers coming towards him. He flees, and then of course it's revealed that he was hallucinating, and they were just a couple of Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever the American
Mormons,
equivalent is.
yeah.
Mormons, fine, whatever.
It's two very different
Yeah,
people.
I'm sure they're two very different people, but usually in this country, if you're going to have someone come to your door, it's a Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
But well, it depends on where in the country you live. I think they're different groups of people and everything. But yeah, which was just hilarious reveal. So he's
Yeah, it couldn't
running
be two
away.
polar opposites of like the killer bikers or Mormons.
To be honest, I'd probably deal with the bikers. Um, they're less
Mormons
annoying.
are very nice people. That's kind of like the point.
I know. I was. Never mind. It was a joke. Really, lighten up. Anyway, yeah. So he runs off to his parents' house, and it's revealed that they live this almost perfect life
Yeah,
without him.
when it's the scene transitioned, you're almost thinking, did we suddenly watch a different show?
I was like, I was actually trying to think of a joke that I could use. I was like, when did this turn into Happy Families or something like that?
When
When
did this
this,
turn into the Aristocrats?
yeah, I couldn't think of a good series to
When did this
compare it
turn
with.
into Downton Abbey? I don't know.
No, Downton
That's not
Abbey's
even
set.
anywhere
No,
near
it's not even
Downton
anywhere
Abbey.
near close for Downton. Oh, fuck it, it's not important.
Well, they don't make many shows about those kind of people because they're boring.
Exactly. When did this turn into? Oh, fuck it, I can't even remember. So yeah, his family kind of had this perfect life without him, but they are well aware of how much of a broken human being he actually is.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
And he sort of spends he literally sleeps through the entire rest of the day, and it turns out he has this like genius fucking super prodigy younger brother who's fucking perfect at everything, so perfect the bastard uses a Mac. That's how perfect he is. Windows is not good enough for him.
No, if he was really perfect, he'd be using Linux. If you really wanted to make him come off as a
Yeah, I think he's
stuck-up
a bit
douche,
young
but
for
no.
Linux. Give
I'm
him a
sure it was
couple
a
of.
gift from his parents, and they're like,
Well,
"We'll just get you a Mac."
eventually, they find a joint in his bedroom, and so they kick him out of the house because there's like, we've given you so many chances, and you just keep throwing them back in our face, and it's not. And I was genuinely quite surprised. It's revealed that the joint actually belonged to his younger brother, and I mean, Jesse is. How old is Jesse? Early 20s?
Probably.
Mid 20s, something like that. And his younger brother must be like 12, 13.
Around there,
And
yeah.
the younger
Very
brother
young,
is,
yes.
yeah,
Very.
very, really surprisingly young to be smoking pot and stuff. And it's just really surprising, but Jesse basically covers for him. I'm not sure if if he was telling him to stop smoking when he crushed the joint, or if he was just simply saying, "No, it's not worth your time," because that's what he said. It's not worth your time. He said it's bad stuff. But yeah, you kind of have to wonder if he was meaning more than that. Anyway,
I mean, because obviously what's going on. He knows that his brother is going to be more successful than him, and he doesn't want to fuck things up.
mm.
He's already screwed up his life. He doesn't want his brother to screw up his life
Yeah,
too. That's
yeah.
why
He obviously he
that's why he
obviously
took the fall.
cares. Yeah, he took the fall for his brother because he obviously cares quite a lot about his brother. He can see that his brother can sort of get out of the life that he has gotten himself into, and so
His brother
obviously,
essentially has already. I mean,
yeah, I
you
know.
saw that. I mean, you saw Jesse had potential. He was a kind of a promising artist. He had these ideas, but then it
Yeah,
didn't
because I
work
mean,
out.
one of the scenes they had, sort of, which was a sort of a nice scene setting thing for Jesse. When he's in his old bedroom, he's kind of going through all his old toys and stuff, and he finds some of his old pictures, including one of Walter, which was hilarious. But he finds that it was drawn on the back of an old test paper that he completely failed at, just F. I think it was F minus, or something like
I don't even
that.
know if you go down that far.
Yeah, well, I think that's the point of it. And Walter says that you need to apply yourself more, which is, of course, coming back to the conversations that he and Jesse were having beforehand. Anyway, while that's all going on, Walter is going to see this doctor who basically tells him that the cancer is quite serious and quite bad.
Which we pretty much knew.
Yeah, well, you kind of just suspected just how bad it was because he was like coughing up blood by the end of the episode, which is
And which really came on very quickly. I mean, it was happening pretty much since the first episode, but you don't know how long it kind of went on set before that.
yeah, he's clearly had this for a while and just not realized it. He probably just thought he had a really bad cough. And
Oh, you have cancer.
uh, well, I hope not. No, I just have no, I don't have cancer. I have asthma. Um, so yeah, fuck you. I'm gonna be around forever. What the fuck was I saying? Great. Now I've lost my train of thought now. So yeah, this sort of genius oncologist tells him that he could have a series of treatments that could potentially, it would at least stop it from advancing, or perhaps put it into remission. He kind of glanced over the remission part pretty quickly. He
Which
clearly
is
doesn't
kind of the standard with cancer. With cancer, they rarely say curable. Like you said, they like to say the word treatable.
treatable. Yeah, which I guess it makes sense because you don't want to put their hopes up too much.
No, definitely not.
That's definitely sort of standard
And
doctor
even with
spiel.
it's pretty standard with cancer that it usually is not straight up cured. Usually they just make it less violent.
Mm,
They either they put it into remission or they try to stop it from advancing.
yeah.
Because yeah, cancer is a very very bad thing. Obviously,
Well, yeah, it's one of the biggest
understatement.
killers on the
Yeah, but
planet. Understatement of the fucking century. And we're very early in the century, so well done for that. So yeah, essentially, he says that you got to go through this extensive series of treatments, chemotherapy and radiotherapy, or whichever one it was, I can't remember. And obviously, it's going to cause some side effects. I just liked how he was listing all these side effects. I was thinking, just stick with the fucking cancer. It's better than all the other shit that's going to happen to you. I mean, oh god, you got it now. That's not going to be a thing. We can't make
we
that a
caught it
thing.
over Skype. Oh no,
Yeah,
it's
we
a
knew it could
computer
spread like
cancer. It's
that.
a computer virus.
Yeah, something
But
like.
no, I mean, honestly, well, I mean, given the choice of cancer and the side effects, yeah, you take the side effects. But
Yeah,
geez,
you probably say, yeah, but it does kind of highlight that for a lot of problems, the side effects are usually worse than the fucking disease. Yeah, so of course the problem is the treatment is going to cost a hell of a lot of money, and I think was it
yeah,
$90,000,
90,000. They said.
which is a fucking load of money. I mean, you could buy a fucking house for something like that. I
Pretty,
mean,
I mean, down
small
payment at
house.
least. I mean, which kind of goes into getting into why this show only really works with the American healthcare system.
Yeah, because of course you couldn't do it in the UK because we have the NHS.
You can do it
Well,
in probably Canada either.
I don't know
Which
much
is,
about that.
I mean, it's kind of fun. I mean, this is like a very obvious joke that everybody's made, but this is where the episode where it first comes into play. Where, yeah, if this had been set in pretty much any other developed country, this would not be a plot.
No, no, this whole thing wouldn't happen. Money, because Americans are greedy and you want money for fucking everything. And, you have embraced consumerism to its utmost and absolute peak of, charging money for fresh air or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so it's going to cost a hell of a lot of money for all this treatment. And Walter's like, I don't know if we should do this. I'm really not sure. And anyway, Jesse then shows up because he managed to sell the meth that Walter cooked. And he hands over Walter's share, which I'm assuming is half, 50-50.
Yeah.
And he hands over £4,000, fucking dollars.
Dollars, yeah.
Yeah, dollars. I live in the UK. I deal with pounds. Shut the
Yeah,
hell up.
yeah. I mean,
It'd be about £8,000 because the dollar's on its ass right about now.
actually, I heard it's rising. It's almost up higher than the euro.
Is it? Well, we don't use the euro here either.
Well, I get either that means the euro's falling.
Probably the euro's falling. Europe's in big ass trouble. But anyway, we're getting way too political here.
And that's what we do.
Jesse gives Walter the £4,000, and you could see the look in Walter's eyes. He's thinking, I really don't want to do this again, but I'm probably going to. Because he basically tells Jesse to just to get lost. I don't want to deal with you anymore after you forced me to kill 2 people, and I don't want to deal with that shit. And
But now does mean that there's a hole in the market.
yes, that is true. Yeah, ultimately you can kind of see where it's probably going to be going now, and I'm curious to see how it develops. Yep, the storylines in and of themselves didn't move forward a great deal today in today's episode. It was more so over the fact that it was more character establishment, sort of helping to sort of set the scene. We know Walter's cancer is bad. Jesse has this younger brother who he wants to look after, and you got all these little sort of more subplots are showing up, because now that we've literally killed off a couple of subplots, we have to bring some more in instead.
Yeah, exactly. The show's very good at keeping the pressure up. When as soon as you think things are kind of calming down, something new kind of rears its ugly head.
Which of course is what you want from a show.
Yeah, it makes for good drama. It makes for good storytelling.
Yeah. So again, another good episode. It wasn't quite as sort of high intense as the last one with Walter trying to work out how to kill somebody, but yeah, it was a good episode. Still curious to see where it's going to go. We've only got what is it, another 3-4 episodes left in the first season, because there weren't that many episodes. So
the first season does kind of tie itself together pretty well.
Well, the first seasons usually do, because you don't know if you're going to get a second season.
Yeah, they write it pretty well. But of course, they did make one critical change to the end of the first season, which we will get into eventually.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. We'll look forward to that. That'll be in a couple of episodes' time, I'm sure. I can't think I've missed anything else. So, oh yeah, and the the end of the episode. You see, at several points. Well, no, really, only at 2 points, I guess. Walter encounters this colossal jackass.
Oh yes.
Ken. I assume his name is Ken because it's on his license plate. Which already says jackass. Let's be honest. Anybody with a personalized license plate is a jackass. And he doesn't have a mobile. He
does have a mobile, but it's connected to a Bluetooth. But he doesn't necessarily have to have a personalized place to be a jackass. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson has a personalized place that says Universe. So.
Yeah, but it doesn't have his name on it.
True.
Yeah, anybody who has their name on their license plate is a jackass.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
If you just have a personalized license plate that has something to do with your job, then it's almost fitting because you use your car to get to your job. Fine. But you don't put your name on your license plate. Like I said, it's like you don't call your son
Junior.
Your name with Junior. That's to jackass. Yeah, so he's using one of those annoying Bluetooths, and he's doing that thing where you get people in public talking louder than they need to because they have to have the attention of not
everybody around them. Yeah, they have to know that you're in the middle of some legal deal. He's not even in the middle of a legal deal. He's talking about some woman with a colleague of his.
Yeah, well, that's what the conversation ends up being. Anyway, so Walter encounters him at one point when Ken steals his parking space in an unbelievably rude fashion. But again, jackass, we already know this. And then he runs into him again at the end of the episode where he's mean to an old lady. Again, jackass. And although, to be honest, I think by this point he's gone from jackass to asshole, but that's
Jackass.
neither here nor there. And so Walter literally destroys his car by he gets a wet
He gets a
uh,
squeegee and shorts out the
squeegee.
battery.
Yeah, he gets the squeegee, shorts out the battery, and the car literally bursts into flame. Which I want to point out was a really stupid place to do it. I mean, great way to destroy a car, but it was a stupid place to do it because he did it at a fucking petrol station.
Yeah, which could
That is
have
fucking
gotten very bad
dangerous.
very quickly.
I mean, presumably the owner would shut off the pumps and everything and seal it all up. But still, it's a very dangerous thing to do. Fingers crossed the fire department got there in time. Otherwise, there would have been this giant fireball on the horizon. But yeah, Walter's, clearly releasing some of this pent up anger
Yeah,
he's
he has a
got.
lot of. I'm sure he's very frustrated with a lot of things, so he's starting to take it out on people who kind of deserve it.
Yeah, well, I hope it really just stick to people who deserve it because everyone he's sort of beaten on or punished in some way, they have kind of deserved it.
He's on my
Like
big
those.
boy pants.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Those pricks back in the. Was that in the first episode? That
I
was the
think it
first
was.
episode. Yeah, that was the first episode, and then this Ken prick,
So yeah,
and
we could keep it. We could keep an asshole counter if we wanted.
two. Yeah. So baby. Now to be honest, I think if we had an asshole counter, we'd probably be broken the damn thing by the end of season one.
So yeah, that should do it, I suppose.
Yeah, I think we've been rambling for long enough here.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, good fun episode. Enjoyed it. Curious to see where we're going next. And I guess that's it for Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and that's
Anything
it
you want to add?
for Breaking Ponies, I guess.
Yeah, that's it for today's episode. We really do need to think of some kind of intro and
Intro,
outro.
outro, whatever. We'll think
Um,
of something.
we'll think of some
Leave,
tagline.
leave a suggestion below.
Yeah, if you've got any ideas, leave a suggestion, please, because we want to hear from you.
Yes,
Because
we're desperate for attention.
yeah, we really want attention. We're not using a Bluetooth thing, but we are yelling loudly in an empty room. So please give us some attention and leave a comment, and we shall see you in the next episode.
Yeah, take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye.